Hi, I'm Nicole Bennett Blake. Join me this and every Friday at 10 a.m. on DCM TV and on DCM Radio, coming to you live from the United Kingdom. Please share and tell your friends. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are waking up this morning, wherever you are in the country. We have woke up to a new day and we give God thanks. This morning I'm here on the Nicole Blake Show. My name is Nicole Blake and thank you for joining us. We are coming to you out of the UK and this morning we're going to talk about raising children the kingdom way. And so we are looking at what parents does. The things that as parents we biblically supposed to do to grow our children to be kingdom people, to get them as a future generation would be, and things that we are liking or should do as parents. So this morning we are going to talk about raising children the kingdom way. Thank you all for joining the Nicole Blake Show, and I'm coming to you from DCM TV. So wherever you are, it is time. Just take this minute right now to just share this link with a friend. You're a parent, you've got other parents on your platform, on your WhatsApp, on your YouTube, wherever, your WhatsApp group, your parenting group. This is a time. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to share this link. Call a friend, tell someone about this program. This is about raising children the kingdom way. It's about strategies we can use to raise our children, to let our children grow up knowing God, grow up securing their future, knowing how to do things. So we're going to go for a break. And as I said, this is the Nicole Blake Show. So guys, thank you for joining me. And we're going for a break. So as we go for a break, remember, like, share, subscribe, DCM TV. We are coming to you out of the UK. This is an opportunity for you now to call a friend, share the link, and let's talk about raising children the kingdom way. Guys, I see you in 5. Thank you.
Parents, make sure the children get immunized. Hear this! Immunization, it is a must. This is not a joke thing, this you can trust. It is required by law for entry to nursery, to daycare and to schools. Listen up, it is necessary to prevent diseases such as the measles, the poliomyelitis, the lockjaw and the whooping cough. Immunize your kids, keep them healthy, keep them strong. Prevent deadly diseases such as mumps, rubella and diphtheria. Immunize your child today. Immunization, a key to good health.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
Okay, guys, I hope you've had your hot coffee, you're ready with your cup of tea, you've got your drink, you've shared the link, and we are here on DMCV TV this morning, DCM TV. We are raising children the kingdom way. Now, raising children the kingdom way is about the parenting that we're doing with our children. How do we parent our children? So this morning we're coming from a biblical perspective, and so this morning I'm going to look at it from 2 Samuel chapter 13. Now 2 Samuel chapter 13 it's about the story of King David. Now everybody knows about King David, and the first thing, if you ask anyone who reads the Bible and about King David, they will tell you about him and Bathsheba. But there's more to the story than just him and Bathsheba and what happened. So we're going to look. We know that King David started out as a shepherd. We know that if you're a Christian person and you read the Bible, it talks about Psalm where it said is how he was conceived, and so we're going to go back to that as parents. The first time when we are pregnant, some of us want to know the sex of our children, whether it's going to be a boy or whether it's going to be a girl. And so what do? We start to make plans. So we are planning for our children's future. We are planning what's going to happen. We are planning even into them going to university. The child is not born yet, but we start to put plans into place for our children because we want the best for our children. We want our children to succeed. So therefore, we started to make a main arrangement. Some of us take out bank's account, and we're planning for this future. We start to look at toys. We start to look at clothing. We start to get a pram or buggies, or cot. We start to prepare the room. Those who have their own, the space and can afford it, you start to set up your nursery room for your child. And so those are the physical things that we plan for children, and so when the child is born, we are happy, we got a bundle of joy, and our instinct really is to protect our child and to make sure that child grow up in the best environment possible. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As parents, that's our job to look after our children. That's our job to make sure our children are safe. And so we see in the Bible that this is the same thing with parents. They're supposed to look after the children, make sure the children are safe. But sometimes, parenting is not easy. So sometimes we don't always get it right. I mean, there's no perfect parent. Come on now. We all make mistakes. As a parent, I can look back and say I've made mistakes. I can say there are mistakes my parents make with me. And if my parents were alive, they'll probably say there are mistakes that their parents made. But what do we do with those mistakes? Do we continue to repeat those mistakes, or do we learn from them? And that's the point we want to raise today as parents. So today we're looking at parenting and their mistakes, because David made mistakes as a father. And many of us, we are living in society where there's absent fathers. There's no father. There's no role model in the home to teach our children. And so this is what happened. We know the story of David, that he had many wives. So he was not living in one house with his wife and children. David had many wives and many concubines. So he was sharing himself among many women. I'm not saying that is right, but that's what happened. That's David's story. That's David's story. So how do we make this right? How do we, grow our children in the right way? And so because we're going to look at children emotions and what are the outcome of our parenting, that's where we are today. We're looking at the outcome of as parents, what we do and the mistakes we make and the consequences of these mistakes. When things happen and we do nothing, we don't right the mistake, we just let it go. We don't talk to the child about it, we just let it go. We don't instruct them, we don't say anything. How this impacts on both the child and other siblings, because in David's house there were other siblings, and this affects them. So we see in the book of 2 Samuel 13 the story of David and his children, and how the story of one brother lusting after his half-sister, and he spoke to his cousin about his feelings, and his cousin they've come up with a plan. And this is the thing, they didn't just decide, I'm going to do it. They made a plan, guys. They planned this thing. So they had intent. They planned on how they're going to get Tamara to come to the house so that his half-brother could sleep with him, could have relationships with him, and how this affected the family. And sometimes things happen in our families and we don't talk about them. And when we don't talk about it and we sweep things under the carpet, guys, this is not a good thing. We need to have family time, sit around the table and discuss, and everybody hear their feelings and talk about how they're feeling about the situation and why it happened and what lessons can be learned, and ask for forgiveness, because we have families that brothers and sisters don't talk to each other, and they haven't talked to each other for a long time because something happened or someone said something that they weren't happy about, and guess what? They haven't spoken, and this breakdown of relationship, we have civil rival. It's not avoidable, but we can do something about it. So the mistakes that we made as parents, we are going to try not to cause our children to make the same mistakes. So we're going to teach them the mistakes that we made and let them understand how things could have been. And if I had taken this route, things would have been this way. So today we're looking at that. So remember, we're talking about raising children the kingdom way. So remember to like, share, subscribe, call a friend. Tell them about this program. We are on DCM TV, we are on DCM Radio, and that means that if you're on YouTube, you can pick us up on YouTube channel. We are also on Facebook if you're on Facebook. So guys, I'm going to give you one more opportunity right now as we go for a sponsorship break for you to call a friend, share the link, subscribe, because the more subscribers we have, the more the program is here, the more parents we are reaching. It means that the future generation is going to be changing. We are here to change lives, guys. That's what this program is about, changing lives. And in the middle of that, I'm going to tell you later on about my book, The Good Parent and the Happy Child. That is coming out by the middle of May. So guys, just watch the space. Watch the space. So we're going to go for a sponsorship break in a minute. So remember, if you have your Bibles, for those who are Christian, go this minute and look at the scripture, or you can come back into, and we're gonna look at it and how the effect this story had on Tamara's life, on Absalom's life, on the other brother's life, on King David's life. But David was a father, David was a parent, and he heard what happened. And we're going to look at the difference in what the brother reaction to hearing what has happened to his sister, and the father's reaction in hearing what happened to his daughter. So, that's what we're going to look at. So don't go anywhere. Just share right now. Just subscribe. Just tell a friend. We're going for a sponsorship break. This is Nicole Blake's show. We are raising children the kingdom way.
Hi, welcome. You are at the right place, the Disciples Covenant Ministries YouTube channel. I am Reverend Fitzroy Williams, host pastor, and I want to thank you for being here. Please note that you will find all our programs family oriented. Don't forget, subscribe and share with a friend, and tell somebody about what you've experienced here. God bless you. Have yourself a wonderful stay on our channel.
Okay, guys, welcome back. So we said in 2 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 20-21 down there, Absalom heard about what is happened to his sister, and he said to his sister, just keep it quiet, don't say anything right now, because what Absalom was looking up to his dad to make to do something about the situation, because it's his dad's place to correct the wrong. So Absalom had expectations of that is going to sort this out. And as parents, we do that. I know when something happened, I would go to my earthly father when he was alive and expect him to, sort this thing out. And that's what fathers are for. They're there for us daughters and children, basically, to come to them. So, and say, Daddy, this happened. And you expect your parents, whether you are in the right or in the wrong, you expect your parents to be able to sort the situation out. I know for a fact last week, my youngest daughter had a problem, and she phoned me and she said, Mom, I've got a letter. She's at uni. I've got a letter, XYZ. What should I do? I'm going to, first of all, say, I'm going to send you the information. Why did she send me the information? Because the expectation is that mommy will sort it out. And that's the expectation of parents. But this is what happened. When David heard, David became angry. But David didn't do anything. He would not punish his son Ammon. Why? Because he loved him. Because that was his firstborn. And David loved him so much, because there's an expectation in David's head. Because, in that time, having a son, your firstborn, that's the one who's going to inherit. That's the one who's going to step up and be like king after David. That's David's thought. That was not God's thought. So that was David's plan. That, my firstborn inherits, and they will continue to lead and continue to rule. But so he did nothing, and this is wrong in both levels, because if you expect your firstborn to be ruling, you have to instruct him so he can rule in the correct manner. But when he didn't say anything at all to Ammon, that opens the gate to a lot of bad blood between the brothers. Remember, they were not all the same mother and father. They were all the same father, but they're different mothers, because David had many wives and many concubines. So He didn't say anything. He just became angry. What's the point of you being angry if you're not going to react? You're not going to talk to your son. And for his daughter, this is the only daughter of David that we saw mentioned in scripture. And David, he didn't go and console his daughter. Was he not in touch with his feminine side? Can we go there? He didn't say nothing. How did it? Was it an expectation that he thought that she would go to speak to mom and mom would sort it? Because there are certain things men think that moms are best placed to deal with. But there was an expectation of dad. Think of dad's position. Dad is king, but he's also father. And does a father take presidency over the kingship? You're ruling your country. What example are you setting if you're ruling a country and your children step out of line and you do nothing? Because in Timothy it says first you have to rule your house before you can rule a congregation or even a country in this sense. And here David, all he did was become angry. He didn't do anything else. What is the point of being angry about a situation and you're not reacting? You're not speaking to the people about what has gone on. So this was David's case. Because his reaction didn't do anything. It didn't help the situation at all. He just got angry and left it at that. And so when Absalom found out that daddy didn't do anything, of course he takes matters into his own hands. And guys, I'm going to tell you this. It's a very important parenting guideline that we should all read and grasp the consequence of not doing something when or not let the deed go unpunished, because it has a ricochet effect on the family in the long run. So here we see that David did nothing. And so what lessons can we take away from this as a father that did nothing? Okay, we agree that parenting is not easy. Let's just go there. We know it's not easy. I know sometimes we got to make decisions, and sometimes some of these decisions that we make, we would feel that it's, it has an effect, but it has to be in the fact that the love, the discipline, the example that he should have shown at this point, both to his daughter, because the fact that she was raped, come on guys, you were raped, and the fact is she wasn't even raped by an outsider. She was raped by a family member, someone who she trusts. I don't know, this might bring up a lot of feelings and emotions for some people, because they may have gone through something of this nature, and so and they might be carrying this for years, and maybe they haven't even spoken to anyone about it, because here we have Absalom saying to Tamara, don't speak about, don't say anything, and so they maybe have carried this feeling for such a long time. And I'm sorry if this program might have evoked that, but how have you dealt with it? Have you had forgiveness? Have you had counseling? What have you learned from this? How have you protected your children from this? Have you even spoken about something like this happening to you? And so we are at this place where this is the situation where this happened and David did nothing, and it caused a difference in the children's life. And there's a lot we can take from David's own parenting and the trials and the failures that he has done. So we're going to look at the emotions. Next, we're going to look at the emotions that Tamara may have gone through. The feeling of hurt, the feeling of betrayal, the feeling of mistrust, that our brother took away our virginity and daddy did absolutely nothing about this. How would that make you feel if you was in Tamara's place? You're looking to dad to right the wrong that has happened to you, and dad knew. It's not like daddy didn't know. Dad knew about it, but dad did nothing. He didn't call his son and says, you have done wrong. What you've done is unforgivable. This is not right. We are godly parenting. We are raising children the kingdom way. And if they step out of line, do we not correct them and instruct them in the way they ought to go? Do we just let it slide, or do we sweep it on the carpet and hope that by some miracle they will know that they have done wrong? Is that the way to parent our children? And we can look at this as if even you have a child and that child slaps you. Do you do something about it? The first time your child hit you, or the first time your child swear at you, what do you do? How do you deal with that? Because this is an emotion that the child is going through. And the effect is that communication is a vital part of parenting. We must must communicate with our children. We must talk to children about what they are going through. We must talk to them about how they're feeling, because sometimes it's a frustration of not doing anything. And this is where Absalom went. He was frustrated with his dad because dad did absolutely nothing to protect his sister. Because remember, Amnon asked dad to send Tamara to come and cook for him because he tell a lie. He said he was ill, and the only thing that would cheer him up, would make him better in his plot. He got his dad involved in this plot, and David was taken as a sucker for his son because he loved his son so much. He couldn't see beyond the lie. And so this has consequences, my friend. And therefore, the consequences of this is that he wasn't parenting. So this is about parent mistakes, the mistakes we as parents make when we don't discipline our children when they do something wrong. We as parents, we need to correct that mistake straight away. We need to sit them down, look them in the eye and say, listen, child, you have gone down the wrong path. This is not right. This is not what you do. Because if we don't do that, what we're doing, we're setting our children up, and they're going to push the boundaries and push the boundaries. And every time they do something wrong and you just let it slide and you don't talk to them. Okay, so some of us have the Arturian voice, but you have to make them understand that this is wrong. And so you don't do that again. But if they do it the first time and you just let it slide, you don't say anything, you just like, basically when you're not saying anything, you're totally agreeing with it. They're going to do it again, because as far as they're concerned, it is okay for me to slap. It's okay for me to steal. It's okay for me to lie. It's for me not to do my chores. It's for me to just, I remember growing up as a child, we couldn't even hiss our teeth or kiss our teeth, as we would say in Jamaica. I couldn't kiss my teeth and make my parents hear when they tell me to do something. I would get a slap across the face, or it would be something else. Child, you crazy. Or I get that look, are you crazy? So, you know, a lot we can take from David's own parenting and the trials and the failures that he has done. So we're going to look at the emotions. Next, we're going to look at the emotions that Tamara may have gone through. The feeling of hurt, the feeling of betrayal, the feeling of mistrust, that our brother took away her virginity and daddy did absolutely nothing about this. How would that make you feel if you was in Tamara's place? You're looking to dad to right the wrong that has happened to you, and dad, he knew. It's not like daddy didn't know. Dad knew about it. But dad did nothing. He didn't call his son and says, you have done wrong. What you have done is unforgivable. This is not right. We are godly parenting. We are raising children the kingdom way. And if they step out of line, do we not correct them and instruct them in the way they ought to go? Do we just let it slide, or do we sweep it on the carpet and hope that by some miracle they will know that they have done wrong? Is that the way to parent our children? And we can look at this as if even you have a child and that child slaps you. Do you do something about it? Do you, the first time your child hit you, or the first time your child swear at you, what do you do? How do you deal with that? Because this is an emotion that the child is going through. And the effect is that communication is a vital part of parenting. We must communicate with our children. We must talk to children about what they are going through. We must talk to them about how they're feeling, because sometimes it's a frustration of not doing anything. And this is where Absalom went. He was frustrated with his dad because dad did absolutely nothing to protect his sister. Because remember, Amnon asked dad to send Tamara to come and cook for him because he tell a lie. He said he was ill, and the only thing that would cheer him up, would make him better in his plot. He got his dad involved in this plot, and David was taken as a sucker for his son because he loved his son so much. He couldn't see beyond the lie. And so this has consequences, my friend. And therefore, the consequences of this is that he wasn't parenting. So this is about parent mistakes, the mistakes we as parents make when we don't discipline our children when they do something wrong. We, as parents, we need to correct that mistake straight away. We need to sit them down, look them in the eye and say, listen, child, you have gone down the wrong path. This is not right. This is not what you do. Because if we don't do that, what we're doing, we're setting our children up, and they're going to push the boundaries and push the boundaries. And every time they do something wrong and you just let it slide and you don't talk to them. Okay, so some of us have the Arturian voice, but you have to make them understand that this is wrong. And so you don't do that again. But if they do it the first time and you just let it slide, you don't say anything, you just like, basically when you're not saying anything, you're totally agreeing with it. They're going to do it again, because as far as they're concerned, it is okay for me to slap. It's okay for me to steal. It's okay for me to lie. It's for me not to do my chores. It's for me to just, I remember growing up as a child, we couldn't even hiss our teeth or kiss our teeth, as we would say in Jamaican. I couldn't kiss my teeth and make my parents hear when they tell me to do something. I would get a slap across the face. Or it would be something else. Child, you crazy. Or I get that look, are you crazy? So, parenting. And I understand the look. I really truly understand the look. When mom gave me that look, I know that, you better shape up, girl. So, but to their children, we have brazen children who don't understand the look because they have not been given the look. They haven't even been given the speech. We got the speech before we left home. There are certain things you don't do. So raising children the kingdom way is about parenting our children and teaching them expectations. We had expectations. There are expectations of us. Our name, the name we have carries value, is carried weight. And so therefore we learn from an early age, like the Bennett name carries weight. So there's an expectation of us that we have to live a certain way. We have to carry ourselves when we are out in public a certain way. And this is where David's name that carried weight. He did nothing. And so therefore, when we're raising children, we're raising them the kingdom way. Mistake parents make is that they don't, the point I'm making here is that when your child does something wrong, the very first time you find out about it, it might be days, it might be weeks, but the minute you know, you have knowledge of this wrong, it is your duty as a parent to sit that child down and speak to them about it. Explain to them cause and effect. What you have done is wrong. You are not allowed to do X, Y, and Z. You are a child. And we do this. So we're going to go for another break, and we are going to come back, and we're talking about raising children the kingdom way, what it means to raise children. We are coming from a biblical perspective. When children do wrong, how do we correct our children? The frustration of not correcting your children and the impact this has on our children's life. It leaves scars for years and years and years. And I'm talking to you from 2 Samuel chapter 13 this morning about raising children the kingdom way. And so guys, this is coming to you from DCM TV, Raising Children the Kingdom Way. So remember to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Come on, parents, share this, because we are talking about our future generation. If we don't raise them the correct way, if we don't instruct them, the Bible says we should instruct them in the way they should go. If we don't teach them, the right thing, they're going to grow up doing the wrong thing. If when they make a mistake, if when they go in your purse and take money out of your purse and you didn't correct them, guess what? They think it's okay to take things that doesn't belong to them. And they will take at school, and then they'll graduate from taking it from school, and they're going to shop and take it from there. And then before you know, they start stealing from outside, and this have a consequence. They will end up in prison. They will get killed. So therefore, we're raising children correct way. We are teaching them the right from wrong. So we're going to go for a sponsorship break at this moment, but don't go anywhere. Just like, share, subscribe to DCM TV, Raising Children the Kingdom Way. Welcome back, guys. So we are talking about raising children the kingdom way. Mistakes that parents make is not responding appropriately when your child makes a mistake, when your child does something wrong. And so we saw that David did nothing when he was told about what happened to his daughter. His one and only daughter that is mentioned in the Bible. Maybe he had more girls because he had a lot of wives, a lot of concubines, so he had many children. But for some reason, the Bible put this story in scripture, so it's a parenting point that we can take from. And so we see that when David did absolutely nothing about this, he didn't lead by example. Discipline matters, and there's a reason why we should discipline our children. It allows children to make good decisions. When we discipline them, it's about instructing them. And so David did nothing. So, like I said, no parenting is perfect, but we must encourage our children. We teach our children the correct way. We teach them right from wrong. Is it any wonder that Ammon and Absalom and even Solomon, as we see, would be caught in doing things wrong? Because David did not teach them how to do the correct thing. As a father, he fall down flat on his face, as they say in Jamaica. He failed as a father. He didn't correct mistakes. And we see this time and time again in parenting. A parent do something. Sometimes I've been out in the supermarkets and in shops, and I see children behaving inappropriate, and the parent, instead of dealing with the behavior, they give a reward, and they try to, as you said, sweep it under the carpet, because they too are ashamed, because they're out in John public and this child is behaving in a certain manner. Not all the time, let me just say this right now, not all the time is the parents' fault this is happening, but because you will have children who are special needs that, they don't know the correct behavior to do, and so they will just behave in the manner that they know. But when you have, say for instance, you have a 2-year-old child who's behaving inappropriate, or even a 5-year-old who is behaving like a 2-year-old, that child is behaving like a 2-year because he has not been taught how to behave as a 5-year-old. And these are the things that I mentioned in my book, The Good Parent and the Happy Child, which is out in next month. And so these are things. So guys, if you have not yet signed up to get my book, if you're not pre-order my book, this is a good time for you to pre-order my book, and you can get it I'm on Facebook. My link is below, so you can just link up and go to my email, go to my website, and you can pre-order your book from now. And just be one of the first to get my book, because it's about parent children. And so when David was told about what happened to Tamara, he did nothing. And this had an effect, because how many of us know that the bad habits from our parents is what we pick up? If the father is a bad role model, we pick that up. Not just father, parent, but because I'm talking about David, I probably more will link into father. We have absent fathers who are not there to teach their daughters or their sons the correct way, because David had sons and daughters, and he didn't teach them the correct thing. He didn't do anything. We see as we go through that story that further on, his son Absalom went away. Went away for a period of time. And, it caused a rift in the family. The relationship broke down. And because of he didn't do anything, Absalom decided to take matters in his own hand, because he loved his sister. And he saw that his sister was hurting, and he didn't like the way that his sister was hurting. And he built up a hatred as well for his dad. So you see, this had a knock-on effect. He started to hate his dad for not doing anything about what his brother has done. And so as parents, we are called to do the right thing. We are called to be role models. We are called to discipline our children. It is part of parenting. We cannot get away from it. I cannot emphasize this point anymore, how important it is as parents that we teach our children right from wrong. We teach them how to do the correct thing. We teach them and let them understand that parenting has every action as a reaction, my father would say. So if you do right, you get a reward. If you do wrong, there's a reward, and the reward is not a good reward. You understand what I'm saying? For now, children probably get time out. We didn't have time out in our time. There was there's a consequence for our bad behavior. And so we learn from an early age that this has an effect. So discipline and instructing our children is key. So how do we do that? Why do we need to do this? Are some of the things we are looking at this morning. So this morning, as we look at the scripture, let's just look at this right now. Let me just read this to you. So the refusal of David, this is what I wrote down, the refusal of David to discipline his son Ammon triggered several things. Tamar was humiliated. Oh my God, my tongue is gone. Humiliated because of the rape. She felt, lost. She felt like, daddy didn't care, that daddy didn't love her enough to do anything about it. So, and as a result, Absalom became very angry at his father. He refused to get involved in the situation of what happened. So Absalom decided to take matters in it. Even though you might not, technically you don't beat your children, but he was to give, even if you give him a tongue lashing, that would have been good enough. It would have made Absalom feel better that daddy's doing something, but the man did nothing. He just got angry. Who is he angry at? Is he angry at himself because he was the one who agreed to let Tamar go and cook for his brother? Who is he angry at? The Bible doesn't tell us. All we know that he got angry. So one of the things I learned from reading scripture is that in the process of raising children, it's important that harsh and quick discipline does not mean degrading. It doesn't mean that we have to use degrading language or physical violence, but to apply discipline appropriately, it means that we talk to them about what they have done, let them understand that what they have done is wrong. And so this is what David didn't do. Yeah, and so as we approach this, we are going to look at how to respond appropriately to things that our children do. So frustration, your child is frustrated about something. Maybe your child is about communication. They don't understand what is happening. There's been a change in your situation in your home. There's a change. Maybe you're moving home. Maybe it's a transition that is happening and you haven't spoken to your child or children about this transition. Maybe it's a breakdown of relationship. They used to spend time with their dad. Your relationship with dad break down and they no longer see dad, but you haven't spoken to them about it. So their communication has broken down. They don't understand why dad is not coming around. They don't understand why they can't go and spend weekend with dad. They don't even understand it for some instance why dad has moved out of the family home or you have moved away. All they know is that they have moved and there's no communication, so nobody's telling them what is going on. So this has an effect, and it's the same way Tamar went through all these emotions. Your child may be going through different emotions about what's happening. You have changed community, you have changed house, you've changed church, you've changed school, you've moved, you've done different things, and you haven't spoken to the child about this transition. You didn't prepare them. That's the thing, you haven't prepared them for this. They're starting school, they're starting a new school, and you haven't spoken to them about you're going to be starting school. So, it's a difficult thing, but we see the consequence of not teaching children, of not communicating it, of not making them. David failed Tamar. Let's just say that. He also failed Ammon, because Ammon should have been disciplined about what he has done. It went unpunished. And the Bible said that no sin will go unpunished. But here, as a father, you make it go unpunished. So, and then I'm sure if you had heard of another rape that happened, was when you read the story further on, and if it was something that happened in the nation, it would want that person to be punished. And we see even that in when he took Uriah, wife Bathsheba, and she became his wife, and he slept with her before she even come and the child was conceived. And when the prophet came to him, he was quick. He was really quick to say that person shouldn't go unpunished. But when it turned out that it was him, he had to reflect. But it didn't. He reflect then, but it didn't reflect when this thing happened earlier with Tamar and that. So therefore, what I'm trying to say, as a father, he sort of failed. He was not a good parent. He may have been a good king, but he wasn't a good parent. And it's about parenting. And so I know it just might feel a bit twisted, but we got to talk to our children when they do wrong. If you ask your child to do something and they look you in the eye and turn around and say, no, I'm not doing it. You have a 2-year-old and you tell the child to do something and they look at you and say no. What do you do? Do you just don't respond, or do you said, call him back and say, come here, what did you just say? Did you just tell me no? You have to address it. You really do have to address it, because you think if at 2 they're telling you no, what will happen when they're 5, 7, 9 and they want to go out with their friends, 11? They're going to be staying out all night because you said, okay, you can go with your friend. I want you back in our 7. Or you said, no, you can't go. They're just going to ignore you. They're really going to ignore you because they've been ignoring you at 2. When you said to them, do something or don't do something, they ignore you and do what they want. So therefore, when they get older, they're going to totally ignore you because they've been pushing the boundaries from 2 and getting away with it. So therefore, there's no reason for that to change unless you pull them up, pull the reins in. And I'm saying this to say, guys, it's never too late to start. So you're a parent and you have not been setting boundaries in your home for your child. Let's start with some simple boundaries from now. Let's start putting boundaries in place. Don't overdo it and put in a multitude of boundaries in one. 2 or 3 is good to start with. And as you concrete those boundaries, then you add another one in and another one in. But we need to have boundaries. David has no boundaries in his house when it comes to his children. And was it that he was so taken up in running a country that he forgot that he needed to be there for his children? Because sometimes that's what happens in parenting. We are so taken up in working, in trying to, earn a buck to look after our children or our family, to make sure the bills are paid. We forget the love and the discipline that our children need. And so, guys, raising children the kingdom way is about making sure that every aspect of parenting is seen to. It's not just about putting food on the table. It's not about putting clothes on their back. It's not just about having a roof over their head that is parenting. It's about the emotional part as well, the spiritual part as well. Because parenting is not just about physically providing for them, making sure they have clothes for school, making sure they're clean to go to school. It's about the spiritual aspect of their life. It's about disciplining them. It's about reading to them. It's about, teaching them the godly way. So parenting looks at every aspect of our of looking after our children. We are happy for them to succeed and go to the best school. But in achieving that, we also have to teach them, because if they cheat on the exam paper, they have not achieved because they haven't learned. And so parenting and raising children the kingdom way is about making sure that children understand right from wrong. So when they do wrong, we discipline them, we pull them up, we communicate with them, we explain things to them, we instruct them. Because we are reminded in Hebrew that we have that authority. They are under our guardian. We're under our authority. We have that control to make sure things are in place. So we're going to go for another sponsorship break right now. But remember, this is the Nicole Blake Show. We're raising children the kingdom way on DCM TV. So guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Put your comments in the chat. Those who are subscribed, put your comment in. I'd love to hear your comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's your thought on this topic? How do you think David could have handled this differently? If you was in David's shoe, you're a parent, and this happened to your daughter. I know some guys will say they're going to shoot him right now. Hi, I'm Nicole Bennett Blake. Join me this and every Friday at 10 a.m. on DCM TV and on DCM Radio, coming to you live from the United Kingdom. Please share and tell your friends. So we are back, and so thank you for staying with us, raising children the kingdom way on DCM TV on the Nicole Blake Show. So I've got a question for you. My question is this: what would have been the appropriate punishment David should have given to his son for raping his sister? If you was a parent, what I want you to put that in the chat. What would you think would have been the appropriate punishment for Ammon at this time? If you are a parent, and even if you're not a parent, I still value your opinion and your thought. What should have been the appropriate punishment? Do you think David did the right thing in not saying anything? Do you think when David, because he's sweeping on the corner, he heard about and he didn't do anything? The Bible didn't tell us that he did anything. It just said he got angry. He didn't even tell us who he was angry at. Was he angry at himself? Was he angry at his brother, for his son, for getting the better of him? What would you done differently? If you was in David's shoe as a parent, something happened to your child, how would you handle that situation? I want to hear your thoughts on this. So you know what? Put it in the chat. Talk to me, guys. Tell me how you would deal with this situation. Because I tell you why. This is what happened now. Because David, we know that David didn't do anything. We know that he just got angry, right? So in him getting angry, I'm just going to read this. He didn't do anything about it. So later on in life, we saw that Absalom took matters in his own hand, and he became angry at his dad, and he convinced himself later on in life as he grew up that he could do a better job of being a king than his dad. So he started going behind his dad and making plans to take away the kingdom from his dad. And as you read the story for yourself, you learn that David got to a point where he gave up. He actually said, you know, let him take it. You know what? He's not going to fight him. Again, as a father, his lack of discipline. He didn't go, when he heard that Absalom is planning this and Absalom is standing at the gate and saying, if I was king, I would have done things differently if I was this. So that's why I asked the question, if you was a father, if you was in David's shoe when you heard what happened to your daughter, how would you handle this situation? That's what I want to know. Because David didn't do anything, and we see what happened. Parent, when your child does wrong, this is what I want you to take away. This is your takeaway. When your child does wrong, please, please, please pull them up straight away. The minute you hear about it, the minute you see it, if it's happening to you, if your child is abusing you, because children abuse their parents in the home and the parents don't do anything or don't even talk about it. Today is a day when you take back your job as a parent. Take back your responsibility. You are the parent. Take back your role and parent your child in a kingdom way. The kingdom way, because we see where David went wrong. We can all learn something from David. There's a lesson to be learned there. And today's lesson is that parenting is about leading by example. Yes, guys, we have to lead by example. We must correct our children when they do wrong. The Bible says we must instruct them in the way they ought to go. So if their child, even if it's sibling rival, my dad used to, when we fall out as siblings, yes, there are 13 of us. My dad had 13 of us. And when we used to fall out, my dad would call us together and we would have to sit in the room. If we're living in the house, we have to sit in the room until we make up. He will sometimes lock the door and leave us in there. And he come back and find out, have you sorted this out now? And so it was very hard. I tell you this story. It was very hard when my dad died and we had a breakdown in our family. Yes, the relationship with me and the siblings, it became very messy. And that really hurt me. And I remember I was speaking to one of my sisters, and my sister said to me, if Daddy was alive, it would not be like this. And I thought, imagine that. Because my dad was about raising children the kingdom way. As a godly man, he knew how we ought to grow. He knew that, it's not good for us as siblings to fall out. So, and it really had an effect. I'm telling you this, it really affected me because I love my family. I really love my siblings. And so when this happened, it really caused, it tugged at my heartstring to know that me and my sisters and my brothers were not at the place where we ought to be. And, even thinking about in the first family in the Bible with Cain and Abel, when there's a sibling rival and Cain planned to kill his brother and even gone to the fact that he killed him, the blood, Jesus, when God came on and God says to him, where's your brother? And he says, am I my brother's keeper? We are our brother's keeper. And that's what Absalom was trying to do, be his brother's keeper. He was looking out for his sister. And the expectation was that Dad would do something. And so God said that, your brother blood cries out from the grave, from the ground. The blood cries out. Imagine that. So there's life in blood. And so we have this idea that, civil rival doesn't happen. It does happen, but it's how we deal with it that is important. So if you have family members that you haven't spoken to for a long time, you're falling out for any reason at all. Guys, life is too short. Because when you're teaching your children, if you're your sister, your brother, your family members, your siblings have not spoken, what and your children know that they have an auntie somewhere or uncle somewhere that they haven't spoken to because you haven't spoken to your sibling. You're not teaching them. You're not being a good role model, because what you're teaching them is that when something happened, they're to walk away. They're not to speak to that person. You know, that's not the good role model. So can I just invite you right now, call that family member that you haven't spoken to for a long time. Make up with them, because you know what? Life is too short. The Bible tells us that tomorrow is not promised to nobody at all, at all, at all, at all. And you're teaching your children that when they fall out with their friends, their peers at school, they're not to make it up back. We are made for relationships, guys. That's what we are made for. We are made for connection. So I'm going to invite you right now, if you have siblings, even your parents, you have children who haven't spoken to their parents. Absalom went away. He didn't see his father for a long time. You know, the relationship broke down. And so we see where the effect of this had so much. And even there was a point when this guy, I can't remember his name out of my head now, he tried to bring back that relationship, caused them to come back into relationship. And even when he came and lived just yards from his dad's house, his dad still refused to talk to him. Guys, come on. Let's raise our children the correct way. Let's demonstrate true love. Let us as parents, you know, I'm not going to say we are perfect. I'm not going to say I'm perfect as a parent. I fall out with my sisters, but I'm telling you this. I'm one of them who believe in blood is thicker than water. Because I get a phone call tomorrow, or I'm told that any of my siblings are in trouble. I'm on that phone like a shot. I'm going to phone them to find out what happened. And not only to find out what happened, how can I help? How can I help you? And so that's what parenting is about, supporting each other. Yeah, and so we're going to go for our last break now. This is our last break, but or rather we're going to end on this point. Guys, parenting is never easy, and nobody says the road is easy. But as parents, we have a duty of care to our children, to raise them, to discipline them, to instruct them, to teach them. When Jesus was on earth, he had his disciples. They call him rabbi. That means teacher. The disciples, discipline means that we are disciplining them. It means instructing them. It means teaching them. David didn't get the memo. You've got the memo. Today, I'm giving you the memo. Discipline your children when they step out of line. Discipline them by instructing them, by teaching them. I'm not saying take a belt to your child and beat your child. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying giving them a tongue lashing. What I'm saying to you, communicate with your child. Let them understand right from wrong. When they have done wrong, it is your duty to teach them. And so this is part one of this program. We're going to do part two. And when we come back, we're going to do part two, which is about teaching your child the right thing, about the frustration. We're going to look at the frustration that Taman went through and how that impacts, because we have children who are frustrated because of the lack of communication. So we're going to come from an emotional part, the emotional, the PSCD, the psychological, social, emotional development of our children. PSCD talks about how that the effect that he had on Taman, how she felt that she was not worthy, she was not worthy of anything. She felt used, she felt, you know, unloved, and all those things. And children go through these emotions and frustrations. So this is what we're going to look at in part two of this program. So remember, parent, this is what we're all about, raising children the kingdom way, guys. And so we're going to end on that note for today. But when we come back, we're going to do part two, or maybe we pick up part two next week. No, when we come back, we pick up part two next week. And this is about raising children the kingdom way. So remember what David did and the mistakes he made. Let us learn from this David's mistake. Let us learn from our parents. I know we all have parents who have made mistakes, and we know that they made a mistake when they do certain things to us, or didn't do certain things. And we take that way. I'm not saying that your parenting is wrong. What I'm saying to you, as parents, we make mistakes, and let us learn from that mistakes. And you know what? Just do the right thing. Communicate to your children. If you know, even sometimes we do things as parents. There are times when I have to go to my own children and apologize, because when I reflect and I think, you know what, Nicole, you didn't handle that right. And sometimes I just say, you know what, I'm sorry. And sometimes being sorry is probably making a cup of tea, and sometimes it's a phone call or it's a text message. But you know what? God is good. And so we're raising children the kingdom way. So as we come to the end of today's program, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about this program. This is the Nicole Blake Show. We are raising children the kingdom way. It's all about securing our children's future, giving them moral standards to live by, ethics, so they make good decisions, wise decisions for their future, because we are raising the future generation. So they're going to be our leaders. And you see what happened when David didn't do the right thing. And even though Ammon being his first son, who he thought was going to be leading the country, he done wrong. We saw that again with Solomon, who become the king. Even though Solomon was the wisest man, he still made mistakes. And so we're going to look at this from the kingdom perspective, raising children the kingdom way. So for this week, this is our program. Join us next week, Friday, and every Friday. Remember, we are 10 a.m. in Jamaica, if you're in Jamaica, but we're coming out of the UK. So for UK, we are 4 p.m. because we have time change. So 4 p.m. if you're in the UK, 10 a.m. if you're in Jamaica. And I know if you're in Africa, you're on UK time as well. So you are 4 p.m. So guys, this is the Nicole Blake Show, and this is me for this week. And remember to like, share, subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the more the show is aired, the more people will come on board, the more we will have. So the more you subscribe, the more you share, guys. This is what I'm asking you. Do me one favor, like, share, subscribe to DCM, Raising Children the Kingdom Way, yeah? On the Nicole Blake Show. And that's me for today. I'm signing out. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. May God bless you, and may the line fall in pleasant places for you as parents, as you learn to raise children the kingdom way. This is the Nicole Blake Show, signing out for today. Love you guys, and see you next Friday, 4 p.m. London time, 10 a.m. Jamaica time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week on DCM TV, DCM Radio. Hi, I'm Nicole Bennett Blake. Join me this and every Friday at 10 a.m. on DCM TV and on DCM Radio, coming to you live from the United Kingdom. Please share and tell your friends.
Hi, welcome. You are at the right place, the Disciples Covenant Ministries YouTube channel. I am Reverend Fitzroy Williams, host pastor, and I want to thank you for being here. Please note that you will find all our program family oriented. Don't forget, subscribe and share with a friend, and tell somebody about what you've experienced here. God bless you. Have yourself a wonderful stay on our channel.
Pastor Emma Murunga takes us from Africa, the Caribbean and beyond with Emma's show on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Jamaica time on this gospel internet radio and TV station DCM Ministry Jamaica. Emma's show comes to you from Africa with versatility at its best in her featured presentation. Join us on Thursdays 10 a.m. Jamaica time for Emma's show live from Africa.
You say I can't go on. God says, my grace is sufficient. You say I can't figure things out. God says, I will direct your steps. You say I can't do it. God says, you can do all things. You say I'm not able. God says, I am able. You say it's not worth it. God says, it will be worth it. You say I can't forgive myself. God says, I forgive you. You say I can't manage. God says, I will supply all your needs. You say I am afraid. God says, I have not given you a spirit of fear. You say I am always worried and frustrated. God says, cast all your care on me. You say I'm not smart enough. God says, I give you wisdom. You say I feel all alone. God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hi, I am Janila Williams, and you are listening to Disciples Covenant Ministries, fulfilling the Great Commission. Stay tuned.
Don't miss the morning meditation segment news, weekdays at 7 a.m. Come for your local, regional, and international news in 60 seconds.
Hi, I'm Lauren Hayes, CEO of Hayes Enterprise Limited and City Boss for Hayes City. Hayes City, the one-stop shopping center, is the most robust retail outlet in Jamaica for over 50 years. Haypet is our complete petrol and service station with all your spare parts, rims, tires for bikes, cars, and trucks. At Hayes City, we boast a large and complete hardware department from cement, steel, lumber, electrical, plumbing, tiles, doors, bathroom, and household fixtures. Our farm store department has all your animal feeds, fertilizer, household and farming chemicals, and all other farming supplies. At Hayes City Wholesale Supermarket, we have all your food, beverages, household, haberdashery, and cosmetic requirements at both wholesale and retail prices, and is equipped with an internet cafe and stationery supplies. We boast a reliable money remittance through Western Union and an ATM machine to satisfy all your money transactions and bill payments. Our lounge, the Skybox Lounge, is equipped with the pool tables, ice hockey, and all your gaming needs in a relaxing and cool atmosphere. Contact us at 994-318-829, fax 994-3914, or just email us at ihaylord@yahoo.com. Hayes City, the one-stop shopping center.